There was this one-eyed king, and he was known to be very cruel. He wanted and he wanted to get his portrait done. So he asked his ministers that go find the best artists in the kingdom, and I would want a portrait to be done of myself. So the ministers had to follow the orders. They went around looking for the best artists. And before he sent them out, he said that uh, either they will be rewarded with my half of my kingdom if the portrait is great, or they will be hanged to death. So whenever the ministers went out to the artists, there was a lot of hindrance between them to come forward because one, uh, if the portrait came out really well, then it was great. But if the portrait was not liked by the king, then their lives were at danger. So not many artists came forward, and finally, the ministers were able to shortlist three artists. So these three artists came to the palace, and the king got ready for the portrait. And the first artist went ahead, and he drew the portrait so beautifully, exact as a replica of the king. I mean, unfortunately, the king did not have an eye, and he also drew the same thing. So it was a reality what was written on the portrait. The king did not like it because although it was the reality, he did not like it because his one eye was not looking good. So he sent the artist to be hanged to death. He sent him to the jail. The second artist looked at this. He said, "Oh, I should be a little careful." And then he drew the king with both his eyes so beautiful. It was a very, very beautiful portrait, but the king had both his eyes. The king again did not like it. He said, "This is not right. You are trying to butter me by having both my eyes in the painting, and you are showing faults to the future people who will see this painting." So again, he sentenced the second artist also to jail and to be hanged to death. The third artist was observing this. He observed both the scenarios of it. So what he did is he just made the portrait of one side of the king. The other side of the eye, which way the king did not have, was not to be seen. So if I'm going to draw a side face of, so you're able to see only one eye, the next eye you will not be able to see. So the king was amazed at this painting because he did not falsify any of the facts. He drew exactly the reality of what was the king, and the painting or the portrait had come out so beautiful. So therefore the artist got half of the kingdom as promised by the king. Now here's the moral of this small story. It's better that you focus on the strength of a person, although there are weaknesses in all of them. If you present the thing as it is to someone, they might not like it. Second thing is, if you try to falsify the fact, they know themselves quite well, and they would also really understand that you're trying to just falsify or you're just trying to impress the person. So just focus on that strength of the person, and I'm sure the person will really like that kind of an attitude. What is that lesson that probably you have learned out of this? Do let me know in the comment sections below. And thank you for watching it.